What's cooking, everybody? I'm David Porkchop, and we got another top 10 list for you here. So, here we go. Yes, top 10 things that has not been released on DVD that I want on DVD. Well, it could also mean Blu-ray, let's be fair, but you get what I mean. In modern formats here. But first, let me provide some context here for you. Because there's a lot of stuff that either took a long time to get released onto DVD and Blu-ray, or have not been released on DVD and Blu-ray. Perfect recent example is the Adam West Batman TV show. For a long time, was not made available, with the exception of the movie, the '60s movie. Beg your pardon. I'm still getting over a little case of yuck, so just bear with me a moment on that. But yeah, the Adam West show was not made available with the exception of the '60s movie until recently, and then it was finally released onto DVD and Blu-ray or whatever, and became a big hit. So kudos there. And other things they have dived into, manufacture on demand and whatnot, and other things have been released in old formats like VHS, Betamax, and Laserdisc, or even CED. But they just haven't quite made it to, and some of the things I'm going to mention here have been released on DVD, maybe partially, or they were released on DVD and are either significantly out of print, or they, nothing close to the full run of the product, or whatever there. And these are just my own personal interest here, so these are things like, if they were made available in some way, shape, or form, I would gladly pop money out and buy them, or whatnot. But before we get to that, we're going to throw some honorable mentions out there of other things. I mean, some of these are just things that probably people would expect to see on the list. So just to throw a curveball at everybody, I'm going to throw them on the honorable mentions part rather than, beg your pardon, rather than on the main list. Okay, so here we go. Okay, Let It Be, the rockumentary about the Beatles. Now, this one, from what I understand, has been made available, was released on like old formats like CED and VHS or whatever, but has not been made available since then. And I don't know what the issues are with that. And supposedly Paul McCartney is not among them. He said seems he's quite content with the film being released, even though it makes supposedly they all don't look good in the movie. I don't know if it's all of them or a couple of them specifically, but I get it. But get accompany it with some rocky mention, somebody who is a rock historian, or even or Paul McCartney himself and Ringo Starr himself there, providing context. I know that would be a big hit. So let it be and put it out there on the DVD there. Okay, Rad, that BMX biking movie or whatnot there. I actually never heard of this movie until I saw a crew jacket or something from that was made available on Thrift Hunters, which is a short-lived show on Spike that actually, when I first saw it, I initially thought it was a knockoff of American Pickers, but then I realized it was actually more in tune along the lines of what I normally do and like to do when I go to the flea markets and yard sales. And I actually use that show actually helped me identify what I am. I didn't even know there was a name for it. Thrifters and thrifting. I had no idea. Now I know what I am because of that show. But on the show, they had gotten a hold of a jacket from this movie, and looking it up, apparently I didn't realize that this movie has not been made available recently, and it's one of the it's pretty high up there on a lot of lists of things that have not been released on DVD or whatnot there. So throw it on the honorable mentions list, okay? Let's see here. I Was a Teenage Werewolf, because Michael Landon and because Shut Up. Song of the South. Yeah, I know. And I think this has been made available outside of the U.S. But yeah, I get it. This is probably one that won't ever happen, but I would say if it does happen, get someone like Leonard Maltin or some film historian to provide context on it and to encourage dialogue and open communication and whatnot there, and put some context towards it there. Okay. Roger Corman's Fantastic Four movie. Some people say that it's actually the most accurate of all the Fantastic Four movies that have come out, which is kind of sad, though. FYI, I like the two with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba and all of them there. I thought they were fun. They were fun at the time for what they were. I mean, they were not as good as the Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies or whatnot, obviously, but you know, I think they're better than some of the other films I've seen out there from that genre. So, some kudos there, but still, I'd like to see this one. I know this wasn't meant to be released. I know the whole story about the whole Roger Corman one there, but still, I mean, you can put effort into it. I say go for it, Just be like, yeah, embrace the silliness of it there. Or give it to somebody like, Mystery Science Theater 3000 or Riff Tracks or somebody like that that can, provide some fun context to it and make it a little event there or something. I say why the hell not. Okay, and last but not least on the honorable mentions, the Star Wars Holiday Special. Well, that's just because that just seems a little too easy. I know that, yeah, B. Arthur, Jefferson Starship, or Jefferson Airplane, or Starship, or whatever the fuck they were. Wait, what version of that group was performed in this show? Somebody tell me in the comment section which version of it is there, because I'm too lazy to look it up right now. And also, I'm using my phone to record this right now, so I can't do it to look it up there. My computer isn't on, and I'm too lazy to just reach over and, turn it on. Excuse me. Okay. All right, enough of the honorable mentions there. And I would hope that in the comments or whatnot on the screen, I would give a fair warning to anybody who is actually looking at this so they can know what point they can skip to skip my ramblings. So here we go. The ramblings have officially been skipped. So, hi. Here's the top 10 list. Begin. Number 10, Adventures in Wonderland, which is the short-lived, I believe it was for about 2 or 3 years or so. It was a Disney show. It was sort of a modern redoing of Alice in Wonderland. Alice set in modern times, and she would go through the mirror, and she would hang out in Wonderland and have adventures with all the characters. And instead of them being antagonists or whatnot, they were all friends. And you had some puppetry and some pretty high-quality makeup and whatnot. And it had that bumper in the beginning where this was recommended by the National Education Association and some other organization or something. Like two different big-time education, edutainment organizations and whatnot there. Yeah, because this fit right in with that whole edutainment thing that they had going on for quite a while there. Things like Magic School Bus, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Mr. Wizard's World, Captain Planet or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, Carmen San Diego, that sort of thing. I would put that in the same category there. And I had a lot of music and whatnot, and you had hip hop, breakdancing, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. You had the White Rabbit on rollerblades. White Rabbit on rollerblades. Yeah. And you had a far better and more compelling Mad Hatter than Johnny Depp will ever be. I know that's not a very popular opinion, but I don't care, because I've never cared for that version of Alice in Wonderland. I mean, it has a lot of neat stuff in it, but I'm sorry, it just doesn't quite appeal to me there. I think it's hard to do justice to Lewis Carroll's material, but I don't know. The Johnny Depp version just doesn't do it for me. I mean, not to say that it's bad. It's just fine. It's fine if you take it on its own merit, but I just don't think it's a good substitute or whatnot for the movie. But I mean, not to say that the Alice Adventures of Wonderland is any better in that regards either. It's like a modern watered down version of it, using these characters in a very different sort of way, but it works. So I would say put the show out on DVD. I think this would be fun. I think this would be a cool thing to do there. And some of the people have gone on to do other things there. Like, I think the girl who plays Alice has a pretty extensive IMDb career or whatnot there. I'm not familiar. Kudos to her and whatnot, of course. All right, so let's move on, shall we? Next. Number 9, Mobile Armored Strike Command Season 2, aka Mask, the racing season. Okay. Now, FYI, the first season has been released in Region 1 on DVD. Um, but I believe it is called the Complete Series on there. It's like 60 something episodes or whatnot. And in that one, you have Matt Tracker versus Miles Mayhem, Mobile Armor Strike Command versus Venom, fighting each other. You got this terrorist organization, being defended, fighting against this, sort of secret military, sort of organization there. You got vehicles that turn into other vehicles and have weapons and stuff like that with these masks that give superpowers. Um, and some people call it a knockoff of like a cross between Transformers and GI Joe or whatever. So much so that actually the Hasbro brought Kenner, who created these toys, and they even made a special GI Joe figure of the Mask's leader, Matt Tracker. And then rumor has it, I think they were going to make a movie of that pretty soon or whatnot. I'd like to write that movie if I was better at writing and had somebody help me with writing a script. I'd write a good Mask movie. Give me a while and I'll do it. Hey, anybody Hasbro? Well, I could do it. But anyway, then season 2 came out, and then the format was completely changed, and it became about all these weird races. There were 2 Miles Mayhems, and everybody knew everybody. The good guys knew the bad guys. I mean, the bad guys knew who the good guys were, and it was all about racing and stuff. And what? I mean, I guess I get that it had to do with promoting the toys at the time. But at the time, they hadn't quite got the knack of, hey, we could still be a quote-unquote toy commercial while still telling good stories in its own right there. Because some shows were immediately guilty of that, but then they got better as they went along, There's plenty of shows that some people will call just glorified toy commercials, but they ended up, now I think they're being reevaluated because they did tell good stories there. But to make a long story short, basically the second season has not been released. I think it's because it's owned by different people or something like that. I don't know how, but And I remember as a kid, and I remember disliking those episodes, but I've gone back and I watched some of the show, and I still enjoy it. But I want to give it a chance again and see if it will grow on me or whatnot. There, So. Come on, give us Mask Season 2. Anyway, next. Number 8, Together, the TV movie and or the series. Okay, now at the time when this came out, this was a big deal because MTV was talking about their first movie that they ever made and whatnot, and it was this sort of comedy boy band rockumentary spoof thing, and it had Chris Farley's brother in it and whatnot, and it had that guy who became a host on some other show or something like that, who was the main kid. But anyway, the movie I remember had high ratings. I remember the cast actually did a performance at the TRL studio when they had the premiere, and it's very funny. I wish the clip, I don't know if the clip is online or whatnot, but then you see, Farley, at the edge of the screen, and you can see he's clearly reading off a cue card talking about the Sony mini discs. That's some good stuff right there. Yeah, and FYI, this show was not the show, but the movie was released on DVD. But during the infancy, it was in the infancy of the DVD format. So the DVD copies are stupidly rare and hard to find and very overpriced. But it was readily available on home video and VHS, which is fine. And then, but then the movie spawned a short-lived TV series where they got they had 2 soundtrack albums, which I guess could be considered albums for the group. They got to tour Britney Spears for a little bit, and then The Hardest Part of Breaking Up ended up becoming a hit, I think. The hardest part of breaking up is getting back your stuff. So, go figure there. So yeah, why not release the show and the movie onto DVD and whatnot? I think that'd be fun, you know? Next. Number 7, Welcome to Pooh Corner or Dumbo Circus. Yeah, here I have a legitimate tie because these shows are so similar to each other in my mind there that I could not decide between the two which one I wanted to put on the list. So they're similar enough, so I put them together. But yeah, but these were among the first shows that were shown on the Disney Channel when it was a premium service, and had live action characters and puppetry and all that sort of stuff there going on for both shows. Where the Welcome to Pooh Corner had all the characters from Pooh, the main ones, except for the Christopher Robin, obviously. And then Dumbo Circus had Dumbo, Timothy, and a few other new characters, having a circus where they traveled around from town to town and having their own little adventures and learning stuff and whatnot. There was like a dog and some sort of cat. It was a girl or something. I don't know. I don't know. I barely remember the show, but I remember being entertained by it, though, both of them. So, but yeah, and Pooh Corner has had a few home video releases, I believe, some VHS releases, including Too Smart for Strangers, which I think actually was brought over to DVD. So, but other than that, that's the only bit there that I'm aware of that has been released on DVD. So why not release the rest of it there? Throw Dumbo Circus in there, make it a manufacturer-on-demand thing or whatnot, and then there you go. But I digress. Next. Alright, number 6, Small Wonder Seasons 3 and 4. Okay, because Small Wonder Season 1 was made available on home video and a wide release. Season 2 is available as a manufacturer-on-demand bit there, but then I guess I kind of counted the sales being poor. Seasons 3 and 4 sadly have not been released, which is unfortunate there. Because I think in that point there is when they had Jesse Ventura, and then the guy who was the host of Supermarket Sweep, who's oddly enough, his episode actually did take place partially in a supermarket. I'm not even kidding. And then one of the funniest bits ever, where he tells Vicky to open the box of cereal, and she grabs it from either side and completely decimates the box, and cereal flies everywhere. Oh man, that is just hilarious, glorious stuff there, basically. So, yeah. I would just to finish it up there. They am halfway through the series already, so just get their shit together and make season 3 and 4 and on demand, manufacture on demand sets, and then there you go. Next.
The Fresh Maker.
Number 5, The Green Hornet. Yeah, much like the Batman show, there's been some legal issues or whatever keeping this away there, and I guess that's probably why there was no home video media release of any sort there of the show when it was when you had the live action movie happening not too long ago. But not much you can really do on that. It's a bummer though, because the movie was okay, but I would have liked to have seen more of the show. Occasionally they give a random episode here or there on I think it was MeTV or something like that there, but can't go wrong with that really. Cool idea, and plus you also have a very young Bruce Lee before he hit famous that he did there. So I would say put that out there, Can't go wrong. Alright, next. Number 4, Captain EO. Yep, that's the film where Michael Jackson and Epcot and Francis Ford Coppola got together to make a little short film project there and whatnot. And for years it was shown on, on the Disney theme parks and whatnot there as a ride or attraction or something. it was shown, but then it was taken down, but then they put it back in there temporarily as a tribute to then recently passed Michael Jackson. So I would say, yeah, I would say a DVD or whatnot with some extensive bonus footage and whatnot there would be pretty much what the doctor ordered for that. I mean, yeah, to think that I'm such a big Michael Jackson fan, yet there's media and bits by him that I've never experienced before. The thought of that is just it's just too much to ignore. Anyway, let's continue there. All right. Number 3, the Not Quite Human trilogy. And what I mean is, this is a trilogy of TV movies that was released by Disney Channel, and they were based on a series of books called Not Quite Human, where it was about an android boy named Chip Carson who wanted to become more human. So, and Chip Carson in the movies rather, is played by Jay Underwood, who also played Johnny Storm on the Roger Corman's Fantastic Four that I mentioned earlier. And let me see here. And his father, an inventor, was played by the sadly recently passed Alan Thicke, known from Growing Pains and composing countless TV theme songs and various other shows and projects and stuff here, and also being father to the R&B musician Robin Thicke. So, this guy has had an extensive career there. This is just one footnote in it, but a very personal footnote for me because I grew up watching these movies and I saw them as like the modern version of Pinocchio, even though it's a very different bit altogether. But think about it, a robot who wants to become human, it's like a puppet that wants to be a real boy, whether or not he was made out of, microchips and, metal versus wood and screws or whatever. I didn't see that much of a difference there. And he meant well. He was a great character there. So that's why I keep bringing him randomly on Twitter there. Like, who would win between him in a fight? Him or Vicky Lawson from Small Wonder? Not that I'm encouraging violence between robots, especially robots of different age brackets or whatnot there, or different sizes. That's not the point. But it is a pretty interesting conundrum of a question, though, when you think about it there. The furthest I would see this go and feel comfortable with it would probably be in epic rap battles of history or whatnot there. But of course, more people will have to be familiar with the Not Quite Human movies, so hence why we should have them released onto DVD. Make it a manufacturer on demand DVD there, I mean, heck, if I was able to write a screenplay, I'd write a screenplay with a new version of it and have cameos there from Jay Underwood and even the actress that played his sister, Robin Lively. Of course, we know her from things like Teen Witch, Saving Grace, and lots of stuff there. This woman has got an extensive IMDb page there, needless to say. So, which is pretty cool. So, yep. So it's Not Quite Human, Not Quite Human 2, and still Not Quite Human. Because in the first one, he was in high school. The second one, he was in college. And then the third one, it was sometime later there. And it was about the father going to a convention. And then some rich dude kidnaps him, replaces him with an android double. And they have to get the father back, So, I mean, but it is a little trilogy there. A little budget entry there or something. And that would make money. You would have hey, well, however much you sell it for, those 3 movies, you'll have my money. Hey. Take my money, Disney. Come on. Put Not Quite Human on DVD or Blu-ray or something, That'd be fantastic, Get some commentary from them. Like, get Robin Lively and Jay Underwood there to provide some anecdotes and stuff. And if there's any archival footage of Alan Thicke talking about the film or whatnot there, then take advantage of that there, since he sadly recently passed, Hey, I would buy that for $1. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next one. Next. Number 2, the Marvel animated shows from the 1980s. All of them. Okay, now this is a pretty wide, I'm kind of cheating with this one maybe, but you know what? Fuck you. This is my list there, And these are the shows that I grew up with that got me to become a comic book fan in the first place. This is what introduced me to these characters. And some of my earliest memories were watching these shows on Saturday morning and enjoying them and whatnot there. And I'm referring to the 80s animated Incredible Hulk that lasted for one season, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the syndicated Spider-Man, and then any other bits that they had going on at the time, even the ones that were not necessarily Marvel properties, like the RoboCop the animated series, even Pride of the X-Men. That has never gotten the proper DVD release. Why not that? Throw that in as a bonus on one of these things or whatnot. That'd be fantastic, you know? Provide some commentary from some of the makers of these things or whatnot, some interviews with the voice cast and things like that, you know? I mean, I would gladly buy all of these shows because these have had a big influence on me and my appreciation for comic books and superhero and whatnot there. So I gladly would buy these onto DVD. And if there's any other shows I'm forgetting, I apologize. Just bear with me. I'm just thinking of this off the cuff here, you know, needless to say. And some of these shows have been released onto DVD in other countries, but not in Region 1. With the exception of a handful of very odd releases there, which let me explain here. And if I remember to do this correctly, at this point you should be seeing a DVD cover of some sort there. A very unusual DVD cover where you're like, now what the heck is this? Well, this is a DVD cover that I found from Amazon Canada, which I purchased and had it sent to my house, which is great. And lo and behold, when I saw it, what was on it, it reminded me immediately of something else which should be popping up on your screen about now. This is from the Marvel Comics Video Library series that was in the 80s, and the local video store that I had near me, called Video Haven, had a lot of copies of some of these cartoons. You know, not copies of the same thing, but some entries from the series. When I rented this one, the Incredible Hulk one, frequently. It had one episode of the Hulk, and then it had two segments from the 60s Spider-Man series. Spider-Man, you know, that one. And they were not exactly in the best of shape, though. But I remember very vividly, one of them was, he fought a character called the Phantom. The other one I don't recall off the top of my head, which is weird because the Phantom was the second segment. But anyway, I remember that videotape, and it was burned in my memory, and because I saw that tape, I rented it a lot. So I remember that very vividly. But you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with anything? Well, somebody in Canada took this. I don't know if this was made in Canada or whatnot there, but somebody took that VHS release and they just took the segments from they just took the episodes. They just took all the stuff referencing the Marvel Comics Video Library and put it onto this DVD for sale. I am not kidding. It's all three of the same segments. And as you can see, the DVD even clearly said that it had some bonus Spider-Man cartoons. And it tries to trick you because you're thinking you're getting like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, which, FYI, I'm counting that on this list too, in this particular slot here. FYI, I mean a complete release. FYI, I mean, at least I'll be generous and say, okay, yeah, because they have released quite a few of the Spider-Man 90s animated series onto DVD, but they have not had a complete set. Even the X-Men animated series got a complete set, but why not Spider-Man the animated series? I'd say go for it, you know? Put that in there too with this, you know? Can't go wrong with that, you know? I don't know what the holdup is. But anyway, the point is, so they have been I want a legal release, you know what I mean? Ever since they took Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends off of Netflix, I've been very sad, you know? Because one of the things that really spoke to me as a kid was there's an episode of Spider-Man the animated series of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends called A Firestar is Born. And there's a very brief segment where you learn about Firestar's origin and you see how she was bullied as a young girl. And that segment alone, that one very brief segment, spoke to me in volumes to learn about bullying and how to deal with it and whatnot there. About trying to be a good person there rather than lashing out and whatnot there. And, you know, I mean, it was very brief, and I'm sure that wasn't the intent of the creators, but that one segment really changed my life. And because I had to deal with bullying and a lot of stuff as a kid. And so, maybe that helped make me the messed up adult I am today, but that's beside the point there. But either way, I think this segment was probably, if you showed that to kids today, it probably would be more effective than, hours and hours of preaching about all this stuff today. I mean, I know it's a different era and whatnot there, but I think if you just, the simplicity of it, I think was fantastic. And if it left a lasting impression on a knucklehead like me, imagine what it'll do to other people that are maybe not as impressionable. Maybe it might help make people think twice about the whole bit there, whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking, or maybe I'm just trying to find a justification for releasing this onto DVD or whatnot. I don't know. But either way, come on. Get the 80s and early 90s Marvel stuff onto DVD. The animated stuff there. So come on. Make it happen. Next. And the number one thing that I want on DVD that is either hard to find or has not been released yet in this area is A Muppet Family Christmas. Any version at this point, although I would prefer the unedited version if possible. But this was a special that was shown on television in the 80s, where Fozzie and the regular Muppets go to Fozzie's mother's house to spend time there. But unbeknownst to them, she has agreed to let Doc and the dog, his name escapes me right now, from Fraggle Rock, to stay there. But then they get there just in time, and so they all hang out together there. But then, lo and behold, the Sesame Street gang also comes in. And during the whole bit there where they're all hanging out together, they're singing Christmas songs, they watch home movies, they meet the Fraggles and whatnot, and it's great. It's awesome, Because I'm a sucker. I love crossovers. Even if I'm not a fan of either of the two things that are crossing over, or if you have multiple things crossing over, I just like seeing diverse elements that normally don't interact with each other, because I like lots of stuff. And I like stuff. And you get lots of stuff when you have diverse elements mixing like that, So it's like the only time the only time that I can think of where you have a Sesame Street gang, the regular Muppets, and the Fraggles all hanging out together, in a very positive environment there. And you even have a cameo at the end from the late Jim Henson, which is really nice. And the thing is, at the time, Elmo was part of the roster, but he was a relatively new addition, so you see him in the background. So unlike today, where he's Lord Elmo over King of all Sesame Street there, he was in the background, allowing the original ones to shine, like Big Bird and Bert and Ernie. Oscar the Grouch has a couple funny bits there too, and Grover, no one's like that, you know what I mean? Versus nowadays they have other characters. My stance, originally I disliked a lot of the modern characters from Sesame Street, but my stance on that has changed, because ultimately in the end they're harmless, and, they're better than a lot of the other crap they have out there for kids, so, it's all good, But either way, I remember hearing that there was a VHS version of this, and then I found out that the song Santa Claus is Coming to Town that they were singing during the home movie segments when they were showing them as the puppet versions of the Muppet Babies was cut. And apparently there have been other DVD releases or whatever where other segments and bits were cut as well entirely, making this far shorter. And it's really sad, because even those versions are out of print and extremely hard to find there, at a reasonable enough price. So I say, try to find a way to make it work or whatever, maybe get Disney in cahoots with Shout Factory. They worked hard to put as much of the music back into WKRP in Cincinnati for their DVD release for that as they could. And that's a lot of honest to goodness effort there, and it worked out to their benefit. So why not try something like that with this? How expensive can it possibly be, If you promote this correctly, I guarantee you'll have a big hit and you'll make a shitload of money there, And you'll have a new tradition that you can show kids, for generations to come there, and make money for many, many years to come off this one thing there, Think of it as an investment, Come on. Disney's already bought Marvel and Star Wars anyway, so, it's not like you're hurting for money, These things are making you lots of money there. You have the Muppets already on your belt there, find a way to make this work somehow. That'd be fantastic, Hey, I'll buy it. All right. Anywho, all right. I thank you for listening to my random ramblings here about DVDs. I appreciate your patience, and I thank you very much for your time there. And you take care, and you'll have a good one there. All right? Laters.